Okay, let's take a look at another degree plan. We're still utilizing this mock student known as the Janes test plan. But what we're going to do here is I'm going to go in and I'm going to change this to EGR, which is the engineering degree. Engineering is an associate in science. And I choose engineering right now to well, maybe that's the one you're interested in, but I'm also wanting to show this as how it's different from the general studies plan that I did in the first of these videos. So if we look at this, you're going to see some interesting twists. First of all, ORI 107 is still required, as is in Area 1, English 101 and 102. One thing that's different for engineering students is Area 1 for the written composition. Area 2, the humanities and fine arts, only 9 hours required there. For general studies, for most degree plans, that's a 12-hour requirement. So what do you do if you are an engineering student at Bevill? Well, you would take your fine arts course like art or music appreciation. You would take a literature course, which has to be done after you complete English 101 and 102 with at least a C in each course. And then you need a speech course, 106 or 107. Now, when we look in the future here at a STARS guide for engineering, you'll see that speech is not a requirement on the STARS guide, but it is required by Bevill State. And we believe that's a very good idea. If you're an engineer, you may design plans for, I don't know, a bridge if you're doing civil engineering, and you may have to present that plan to the people who are going to pay for it. And you'll have to stand there in front of them and talk to them and show them what you've done. So, public speaking course is very valuable. In Area 3, the requirement here is 12 hours. Most degree plans, that says 11. It says 12 for engineers because the lowest math course you can take that's going to count is Calculus 1, and that's a 4-hour course. So if you want to be an engineer and you can't go straight into calculus out of high school, you may have to work your way up. And that could mean having about 3 years worth of math classes to take to finish up the 2-year associate's degree. So if you're not in Calculus 1 already, right, like your first semester, then you really need to be building up to that. The science requirement for engineering is very cut and dried. It's Physics 213 and 214. In a lot of degree plan areas, you can take any science, but no. For engineers, you must have calculus-based Physics 1 and 2, 213 and 214. Area 4 is also different here because it's only a 9-hour requirement. You take a history sequence, and then you take, this says a third history, I wouldn't recommend that. And then it says a social or behavioral science. Now, a lot of times people want to take psychology for that, and that's acceptable as far as graduating goes. But I would strongly suggest that for that you take a course in economics, because as an engineer, if you're designing a bridge or a power substation or whatever, you're going to be more concerned with the cost, with the economics of it, than you are the feelings of that bridge. So, yes, you can take psychology or sociology, but I would not recommend it. In Area 5, there's a 24-hour requirement where most degree plans call for 19. And for engineers, a lot of that is prescribed. Chemistry 111 and 112. Depending on the type of engineering you're doing, you may need both, you may only need one. Electrical engineers, for example, at most universities are not required to take Chemistry 112. Here are the 4 engineering courses that we do. Foundations, which is Engineering 101, Modern Graphics, 125, Computer Methods, which is MATLAB, is 157, and Engineering Mechanics Statics is Engineering 220. You don't have to have all of those, and in talking to your engineering advisor, he may tell you which ones you do and do not need to take based on what you're doing and where you are going. But then you are going to need Calculus 2 and Calculus 3. And then you have an option, note down here, CIS 146 or EGR 157 required for graduation. Normally, we strongly suggest doing the EGR 157, the MATLAB course, and not the CIS 146 if you plan to be an engineer. And then lastly, there's Math 237 or 238. And 238 is the differential equations, which is what we normally have folks take. So there is the Bevill State degree plan for engineering. Now let's compare that to a STARS guide. I'm going to go Bevill State. I'll say I'm an advisor. And we're going to roll down here to engineering. Now you notice that there are several different types: aerospace, architectural, biomedical, like biomedical only available at UAB, chemical, civil, computer engineering. All right, several different types. So let's look at mechanical engineering. Okay, so like other STARS guides, there's this reminder here that you must print the Area 5 page for the school you plan to transfer to. And let's get into this thing. Area 1 is written composition, 6 semester hours, take English 101 and 102. Same thing as the Bevill State degree plan. Area 2, 9 semester hours of humanities and fine arts. Choose a literature, choose a fine arts, pick from this list, and Bevill State says pick a speech. Area 3, just like the Bevill State degree plan, is Calculus 1, Physics 213 and 214. Area 4, the reminder here, you need a sequence in literature or history. Bevill State says do it in history, because up in Area 3, where you had to have a fine art and you had to have a lit, Bevill State said you had to have speech. So that eliminates the chance of a literature sequence. So we have you do a history sequence. So pick 101 and 102 for Western Civ, or pick 201 and 202 for U.S. history. And again, here are all of the social and behavioral science courses, and I strongly suggest doing one of the economics courses if you're an engineer. Area 5 is where you do Cal 2, Cal 3, differential equations, and Chemistry 111 and maybe 112, again that depends. And they suggest that you take either Fortran or C++ programming. We don't often get these done at the Jasper campus because these are not offered on the Jasper campus, but there are times where we can find these being offered on another campus or online and get a student into those. All right, remember you have to come down here and pick the university you plan to transfer to and get their Area 5 page. So let's say you want to go to Alabama. Just randomly pick that. And here's your Area 5 page. Of course, you have to choose your major. Go down here and find mechanical engineering. And wait for that to load up. Taking a little bit longer than it should. And here it comes. Alright, so they send it to you as a PDF. Let's see here, in Area 5, maximum total number of electives, 28, hours specified, 25, okay. And they're telling you to take the EGR 101 at the community college, specifically telling you to take that one. Everything else can just be whatever's there on the general STARS guide. So notice the different, well, you may not have watched my other videos where we looked at different STARS guides from different universities, but each university does it a little bit differently. Let's see what Auburn's looks like. Again, you have to tell them what your major is. It doesn't just automatically take you there. Okay, so perhaps they just have, here we go, engineering dash mechanical, not mechanical engineering. So once again, so they specify Cal 2, Cal 3 differential equations. They have linear algebra on here and college chemistry 1. And they've got a little bit more down here. Area 2 must include at least 1 lit, 1 fine arts, and an additional, and they say it should be ethics. Now that's interesting, since Bevill State requires speech. I'm not sure how often this has come up. I'm not sure what to tell you we would do about that. I don't know if we can make a substitute, or if you would just take the ethics once you got there, or take the ethics as an Area 5 course and then hope that they would take the speech as an elective in Area 5. But again, what you always have to do is print out this Area 5 page and keep it with your printed copy of the STARS, the general STARS guide for your degree. So that is a Bevill State degree plan and STARS guide for engineering.